I have just signed a letter of intent. This is a letter of intent between Sweden and Ukraine, and this is the beginning of a long journey. And it will take us one step closer to a major export deal for Saab, for Sweden, together with Ukraine. This means great opportunities for the Air Force of Ukraine in the future, and also for Sweden and its defense industry, but also for a long-term industrial cooperation between Sweden and Ukraine. As you in here already know, and as President Zelenskiy knows better than anybody else, Sweden is one of the greatest military donors to Ukraine in absolute terms. We contribute with artillery, with aircraft, etc. And on the Air Force side, we're contributing with radar surveillance airplanes, ASC-890, those of you who are interested. And these are aircraft which reinforce the ability in the older Western aircraft which are now operating in Ukraine. We also contribute with equipment and training. But it's also important, we are learning as well a great deal from Ukraine. And today we have in detail gone through a number of areas where Sweden has listened to the experience of Ukraine, military, civilian, taking that on board from Ukraine, showing that we can benefit from, but then we can also help Ukraine further with. Now, this letter of intent, agreement of intent, is something else. It is not aimed at any new donations at the moment. Instead, it is about a long-term cooperation when it comes to this type of cooperation and the possibility of having a major deal between our two countries, probably between 100 and 150 Gripen aircraft model Series E, which is beginning to be produced now. And this is to build a very strong air force in Ukraine. It would then be part of the growing family using this unique, very flexible fighter system. And this agreement is a clear, mutual statement of will, and it is the beginning of a long journey for the next 10, 15 years. And this long-term ambition doesn't mean to say that we don't understand the great needs in place today to support Ukraine continued against Russia in the war of aggression. Now, for the last few years, Russia has aggressively attacked Ukraine partly against Ukraine's very brave soldiers, but also at hospitals, preschools, schools, playgrounds. Children are killed and are taken to Russia against the will of the families. This is a brutality without any limits at all. And instead of putting pressure on Ukraine, the whole world should be putting pressure on Russia. The free world must now increase political, financial, military pressure on President Putin to put an end to this brutal war. From today, we're going to continue working together with Sweden and Ukraine and other partners as well. We're going to work very hard to try to look at different possibilities for long-term funding of Ukraine defense capabilities. And the point of departure is good, let me say. We're all in agreement that a strong Ukraine with a strong defense in place, this is the best long-term protection, not just for Ukraine, but also for all other European nations. And our ability to protect our airspace is, of course, of decisive importance. One important step in this direction may be taken already tomorrow, when the question about frozen Russian assets is going to be discussed once again at the European Council. And it's no coincidence that later this evening we are both flying down to Brussels. Now, even after the war, a long-term funding will be required for the reconstruction of Ukraine and also for their military defense systems. And this issue is naturally also decisive as regards the conditions for the deal that we are now signing this agreement about. Lastly, Sweden has a proud history of being a world leader when it comes to fighter aircraft. The older generations told us about J-29, J-22, the Lancet, G-35, the Dragon, J-77 Viggen, and now JAS-39 Gripen. This is a unique history and background of our capabilities that we have built up in this country. Few NATO countries have this capacity. And the new aircraft that you can see behind me and President Zelenskiy right now is not just a source of pride for us in Sweden and for Linköping. It is also part of the unique Swedish ability that may help support the security of Sweden, of Ukraine, of Europe. And this is what it's really all about.
Step we're taking today through this Swedish-Ukrainian letter of intent creates the necessary preconditions for a major export deal on the Gripen fighters between our two countries. If we succeed, it will contribute to increased security in our part of the world and will strengthen both Ukraine and Sweden. We fully realize it's a long road ahead of us. But from today, we are committed to exploring all the possibilities in providing Ukraine with a large amount of Gripen fighters in the future. And with that, over to you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ulf. Thank you very much for having us and for your support, for everything. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dear guests, dear Ulf, dear team.
Дорога Швеція, сьогодні ми відкриваємо безумовно нову і дуже змістовну сторінку наших відносин. Відносин України та Швеції, та й більше загалом безпекових відносин в Європі. Сьогодні є такий перший документ між нашими країнами, який відкриває шлях для отримання Україною серйозного флоту. Серйозного, дуже серйозного флоту бойових літаків шведського виробництва Gripen. І, да, це дуже класні літаки, сильні авіаційні платформи, які дозволяють виконувати великий спектр завдань. Кожен бачить, від яких загроз це допомагає. Російські удари проти нашої держави, вони не зупиняються. І сьогодні вночі росіяни завдали чергового масованого удару проти нашої енергетики, проти наших міст. І, на жаль, є загиблі. І серед них двоє дітей. Найменшій дитині ще й року не було. Мої співчуття рідним та близьким. Тільки за одну цю ніч на сьогодні були поранені від ударів російських ракет і дронів десятки людей. У багатьох регіонах зараз, на жаль, є обмеження постачання електрики. У місті Kharkiv російські дрони ударили по дитячому садочку. По всій лінії зіткнення з російськими військами у наших прифронтових громадах, прикордонах щодня сотні російських керованих авіабомб. Росіяни можуть бити ними виключно, можуть бити тому, що мають перевагу в бойовій авіації проти нас. Тому наша стратегія захисту – це багатокомпонентний захист, який заснований на багатьох речах. Від систем протиповітряної оборони, таких як Петріот, Насамс і інші, до бойової авіації. Швеція дуже нам в цьому допомагає. І ми сьогодні, як сказав прем'єр-міністр, ми розпочали роботу для отримання Україною Гріпенів. Ми розраховуємо, що майбутній контракт дозволить отримати нам не менше 100 таких літаків. Ми чітко розуміємо, що це процес. Ми чітко розуміємо фінансову основу для можливості виконання цього важливого для нас контракту. Ми говорили про це з прем'єр-міністром, з керівництвом компанії Saab. Я вдячний Швеції за готовність співпрацювати щодо цього. Ми дякуємо компанії Saab, яка виробляє Gripen, і на базі якої ми сьогодні говорили, для нас це честь. Ми маємо вже в наступному році робити все, щоб отримати перші результати, найближчим часом робити все, щоб найближчим часом фіналізувати процедури. Процедури завжди забирають час, але тим не менш треба робити все, щоб наповнити нашу рамкову домовленість повним змістом. Україна вже довела, що може виконувати такі завдання достатньо оперативно. Ми готували пілотів, ми їх готуємо, готувати технічні команди, готувати інфраструктуру. І тепер наші команди повинні зробити все, щоб наступний рік став часом початку більш предметної реалізації наших домовленостей, початком використання гріпенів. Звісно, ми сьогодні обговорили інші ключові питання, енергетику. Я поінформував про наші основні потреби після російських ударів. Ми говорили про можливості відновлення, також пошуку додаткових джерел фінансування, зокрема, щоб у нас був достатній обсяг газу на цю зиму. Росіяни прицільно знищують наш видобуток, і тому імпорт має зараз значення для нас. Також ми скоординували позиції напередодні зустрічі в Брюсселі та зустрічі в Лондоні, Європейської ради та коаліції охочих. Я поінформував Ульфа про нашу комунікацію зі Сполученими Штатами Америки та іншими партнерами. Факт в тому, що Росія реагує тільки на силу. Силу тиску, і саме тому ми внесли тематику далекобійних можливостей, а саме томагавки в порядок денний з партнерами. Коли Росія почула про томагавки, достатньо переконливо Путін одразу поспішив повернутися до дипломатії. Зараз бажання Росії до дипломатії дещо зменшилось. І саме наша далекобійність може всадити Росію за стіл так, щоб реально закінчити цю війну. Ми обговорили ситуацію з ППО. Я дякую кожному партнеру, який вже приєднався до програми Pearl, що дозволяє нам купувати американську зброю, в тому числі, безумовно, це пріоритет, ракети для Patriot. Швеція в програмі, дякуємо за це. Важливий для нас і загалом для безпеки Європи санкційний напрямок. Ми розраховуємо на ухвалення 19-го пакету санкцій Європейського Союзу. Це дійсно потрібно перестати відкладати. Також серед тих речей, які дійсно вплинуть на ситуацію, буде і повніше використання російських активів на захист від російської агресії. Ми готуємо відповідні рішення. Це дуже непросто. Ми дуже розраховуємо на єдність, солідарність Європи і на підтримку. Україна ніколи не хотіла цієї війни. Всі це знають, яку проти нас розпочала Росія. І тільки вона. Щодня росіяни забирають життя наших людей. Щодня руйнують наші міста. І вони прийшли на нашу землю. Це абсолютно справедливо, що ми шукаємо і знаходимо необхідні засоби захисту, необхідну зброю, необхідну для нас підтримку, необхідні інструменти тиску на агресора. Дякую всім, хто нам допомагає. Дякую тобі, Ульфе, особисто, і дуже дякую вашій прекрасній державі, яка так допомогла Україні. І я впевнений, завжди війде в історію незалежної України. Дякую. Слава Україні!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Дуже дякую, пане президенте. Я думаю, зараз ми починаємо запитання.
From the media.
Thank you. So now we open up for questions. So please state your name and your media outlet, and please keep it to one, maximum 2 questions. Yes. And we can start over there.
SVT, Elin Jansson, jag har en fråga till president Zelensky.
I have a question to President Zelensky from SVT.
The future development of military of peace negotiations. What can you say about the 12-point plan? What security guarantees are needed, and which compromises are you ready to make? Thank you so much. First things first, I think will have a very important meeting in Britain. Some of the partners will be present offline. Many of the partners will join online to our coalition of the willing.
Це важливий елемент в закінченні цієї війни, тому що мало того закінчити агресію Росії, зупинити Путіна і зупинити його особисто.
And stop him personally, because it's his personal will and desire to destroy Ukraine, to destroy Ukraine's independence, to subjugate us. So we must make sure that Russian aggression will not come again.
Про це 2 години з президентом Сполучених Штатів Америки щодо тих чи інших кроків. Україна готова переходу до дипломатії. Ми підтримуємо питання припинення вогню. Ми готові до дипломатії, але не за умов, що ми повинні відкудись виходити, даруючи агресору свою землю, свої території. Безумовно, це не про кілометри. Питання, безумовно, про домівки, про наших людей, про нашу історію, ідентичність. Це наша територіальна цілісність. Тому ми готові до дипломатії, але, як я це і говорив і президенту Сполучених Штатів Америки, питання в тому, що ми не бачимо готовність Російської Федерації. І всі ті дипломатичні потуги, яка вона демонструє своїми дзвінками або меседжами, для того, щоб відкласти сильні рішення Америки і Європи. Як то? Запровадження санкцій. Відкладати тим, що вони готові до дипломатії. Або передачу, або продаж томагавків Україні. Таким чином, вони просто відкладають безумовні рішення, які є елементами тиску на Росію. Коли Росія буде готова до дипломатії, ми це побачимо.
Дякую. Президенте Зеленський, я перепрошую. Президенте Зеленський, чому ви обрали Гріпени? І чи можете ви щось сказати англійською також, будь ласка, про мирний процес? Так, будь ласка. Дуже вам дякую. Чому Гріпени? Ми знаємо про ваші літаки доволі багато. Я не певен, що ми знаємо.
Of course, only Sweden knows everything, but a lot. We can compare with other platforms. And we use now jets different from the jets what have been produced during Soviet period of time. And also F-16s, not Block 50 plus, I mean not young, not new generations, and etc. But in any way, we are thankful for everything what we use and what has been delivered to Ukraine to support us. But if you look strategically on your air fleet, and we understand that there are the best 3 platforms, Gripen, F, and Rafales. And I don't want to open all the things, all our steps, what we need and what we'll do, but for our army, this is a priority. Gripens are the priority. That's why it's chosen by us. It's about money, it's about how it's maneuvered, and it's about how to use it, and it's also about our country. And between us, we understand with whom we fight. And Gripens are one of the best in the world.
And about the peace process?
What about the peace process? What do you want to hear?
What do you think about it?
What I think about it? No, we don't have enough pressure on Russians. And to make a pressure, by the way, the levers and contracts and today's decisions about ARGS, all these details of pressure on Russia. Because it's all about strengthening Ukraine and Ukrainian people and army. And not enough pressure on Russia. We need the decision on frozen assets, difficult decisions. It's a pity, and I hope that tomorrow we will have a chance. But we understand that it's not a simple decision. Russia will do everything not to give us possibility to have such decision. Is to use money because they understand that they need to decrease financing of Ukraine during the war. How to decrease? First, to divide USA and EU. Then to divide EU. And they've been quite successful in some steps with some countries, you know. But God bless, strong countries in EU, strong countries are together. And this is very good. So that's why they want to decrease financing. And the frozen assets, it's a decision how not to lose these important funds for Ukrainian security. Then program Pearl is important. Also, we know that Russia works with some European countries. It pushes them not to deliver to this program. And this program, especially for the United States, PAC 3, mostly PAC 3, because we need missiles, especially during the winter, especially for Patriot systems, which we don't have in Europe. And that's it. So, and also there are strong steps on the battlefield. Russia's pushing disinformation in media, mostly in the United States today, also in Europe, that they win this war, that they are winning. But it's not true. They have losses, more than 1 million people, 1,300,000. Yes, that's it. So and their economy is decreasing. And of course, they are a rich country, and of course, they have a lot of money and funds and energy and etc. So sanctions on energy, this is also, but total sanctions, without games, real sanctions. So all these things will pressure them, and they will sit and speak.
I very much agree on the frozen assets, and I think that was going to be one of the most important discussions for tomorrow. And I also very much agree that Russia will do anything they can to obstruct those decisions, because they would mean a game-changing difference if they were to be released, those assets. So don't underestimate the Russian efforts to obstruct, to make countries believe it's dangerous or to believe in threats. But we will do everything we can. We had a good step forwards last time. I hope we will have another step tomorrow.
If I can, sorry.
Please.
I don't know the rules. I mean, we can't speak.
We set the rules.
Okay. So, I mean, it's very important signal to all Europeans. Don't be afraid of Russia with decision of frozen assets to some of these countries, because mostly they are on the right side of history. And I hope that they will not be afraid. Because if we have such unity as EU, Europe widely, with Ukraine, with UK, you are stronger than Russia. Yeah, that's why don't be afraid. It will help a lot.
Thank you. Diane?
Hello, Pia Gripenberg, Swedish Daily Dagens Nyheter. Sorry for not speaking Ukrainian. This letter of intent is for the future. If you see in the short run, can JAS Gripen be of importance for Ukraine in the short run as well? And when it comes to the peace plan that a group of European countries are preparing, that includes freezing the front line as it is now, what's your opinion about that plan, and how will you be able to get Russia to the negotiation table, please?
Thank you very much. So I'm not sure that we have some, thank you. I'm not sure that we have some schedule of Gripens for today, but we understand on what we can estimate, on what we can count. So, and I will not share now details of our estimation, but our teams will work on it. Of course, for us, this is important question. The second point about the plan of Europeans, there are propositions like from France, from some Europeans, and I think we understand each other, and some European countries really very helpful with it. They want to put their point of view, how it's not like a plan how to totally stop the war. It's a plan mostly about plan of ceasefire. And I know some steps of it, but we are really, we have to discuss it. It's not done. Yes, we have to discuss it. There are some propositions. And I'm very welcome when when our real friends, strategic friends, and then when they propose their help, not just by the words, by steps, militarily, humanitarily, or such way diplomatically.
Thank you. TT?
Prime Minister Zelenskiy, first of all, I'd like to ask you, would you say that you're more or less optimistic that you will find a peace solution comparing to 1 year ago? And secondly, can you please elaborate a little bit on the financial solution here? You talked about a little bit about the frozen assets and so on, and but how much of a help would that be?
I'm more positive than 9 months ago. I think we made a lot of work. I think our relations with the United States moved to the right side. Thank you.
To state, but just to state the obvious, if you want to make a big Gripen deal with Ukraine on the scale of 100 plus fighters, it's the obvious question is on finance, of course, no doubt about that. I was very transparent on that. But I do think there is a momentum right now. Don't over-exaggerate the frozen asset, but it's one sign. Also the realization among the coalition of the willing countries that in the long-term security guarantees for Ukraine is a strong Ukraine. The long-term security guarantees for the rest of Europe is a strong Ukraine collaborating with Europe. So there is a full realization that we need to be part of that build-up. Then, of course, we should unite on all these extremely important details. That's why I said this is a long way to go, but we have a clear idea on where to end that road.
Thank you. Aftonbladet.
Victor Stenqvist, Aftonbladet. Mr. President, two questions. Firstly, what was your reaction to the cancellation of the meeting between Putin and Trump? And secondly, if Putin can't be stopped in Ukraine, what risks do you see in the future for Sweden?
Europe will have risks. I don't know. I think Sweden is a very important part for EU, strong part, important part. And of course, if one of the European countries, of EU countries is in risk, I think that the security of Europe is in risks. So that's it. I think that I said about it, if we will not stop Putin, if we will not have a plan how to have a peace, so if we will not have minimum of this ceasefire, with understanding what to do next steps, so Putin can try to open a new front somewhere, because for him Ukraine is very difficult. I'm not comparing our security or our military capability with other countries. No. I'm not trying to do it. I'm just say that we are in war. So many not ready for such thing. It's like we've been at the very beginning of the war. It's understandable. So it's difficult to prepare for the war. It's not true that somebody can really prepare for the war, totally prepare, because psychologically, the most important, it's about people. Who is ready for the war? Who wants war? Normal people they don't want. And it's understandable why. Because you are adequate people. Now, that's it. You don't want losses. You don't want to lose your family. And that's why I'm sure that the most important strong society, but I think society is difficult again to prepare society for the war. And God bless that other countries will not do it. And that's why he will find, I think, if he will think about, he can think about other country, one or another, but not very big, because it's difficult. Because it's difficult not only to occupy the part it's very difficult to hold. Ukrainian territory is big, one of the reasons. So yes, our people, yes, we long in war, but our territory is big. That's why you need too much people to hold it, even after you occupied it, temporarily occupied it. You have to hold. You need more soldiers. And it's very expensive. And so a lot of details about it. I mean, that we can speak about it, yes, with details, but we need too much time for this discussion. That's why I think risks have, first of all, small countries. This is my opinion. And for Putin, it doesn't matter. They are in NATO, in EU, or not.
Thank you. And then we have the last question from Sveriges Radio.
Пане президент, в мене питання, але
Mr. President,
This is a question to both of you. As Ilham Kristersson says, this is a very urgent situation, but we can do things in the here and now. We can send old...
Чи ми можемо відправити старі літаки, які зараз є у Швеції? Це питання, яке ви обговорювали. І коли Україна може отримати літаки, які ми зараз не використовуємо в цей момент? Але ми часто...
Oftentimes, in fact, that we are part of this coalition discussing defense in Ukraine, and we haven't. We know, in fact, that that there are Gripen aircraft that Sweden isn't using, and we sent, in fact, an agreement to radar surveillance aircraft to Ukraine. That was the best thing that we could do at that time, that these F-16 aircraft operating in Ukraine at the moment, that they also had greater capacity through the radar ability that we can offer, instead of at the same time introducing 2 new small-scale fighter systems in Ukraine. But this is something that can change. Of course, we haven't changed that assessment at the moment. At the moment, we're fully occupied with, in fact, introducing the radar surveillance for those fighter jets. Thank you.
Last question.
Ja, Julia från SVT. Jag har en fråga om den här.
I have a question with regard to this letter of intent presented here today. What does that entail in practice? So when can you start selling these aircraft to Ukraine? And for the production here in Linköping at Saab, here in Linköping, what does that mean to them? That's a very important question. The first thing that we need to do now is to look together at all possibilities that we can find for financing for the long term for Ukraine. This was already ongoing, and together with the reconstruction of Ukraine as well. And there, the discussion about the frozen assets is a very important part. Now, we're talking about the latest generation that was introduced just the other day here in Sweden. Now, that production capacity is just being established at the moment. So in practice, we're talking about within 3 years. That's when we can start delivering. And then, of course, you don't deliver 150 aircraft all in one go. This is a long-term process, which means that we're talking about what we're talking about, the financing. We're talking not just sort of one small short period of time. This is a long period of a process. So, well, we're talking anyway about within the next 3 years for the first possible delivery. That's possible, as I said. And I'm saying that, I'm not saying, I'd like to underline that this isn't something that is done in the here and now. I just like to say, but we are just showing what our will, our desire, and this is how all major projects start. In fact, to be honest, I mean, if everything had, been done and dusted, then of course we would have been too late.
If I can.
Ми хочемо будувати дрони. Ми дуже зацікавлені. Ми відкриті до Швеції. У нас прекрасні відносини і є досвід, який у нас є через війну. У нас найкращі сьогодні, або одні з найкращих дронів в світі. Ми будемо масштабуватись і зі Швецією в партнерстві. Ми сьогодні говорили про це з прем'єр-міністром і з керівництвом, з власниками компанії Saab. Для нас це перше. Друга історія щодо грипенів. Фінанси – дуже важливе питання. Є літаки, ми будемо обговорювати це далі. Є гріпени нового покоління. Ми дуже розраховуємо на ту кількість, про яку ми говорили. Якщо менше 100 літаків плюс, так, а також ми будемо розмовляти про можливості використання інших літаків, які є неновітніми, щоб якимось чином і прискорити. Тут також постачання. Також ми будемо говорити про навчання наших пілотів, що дуже важливо, але найголовніше, що сьогодні є, найголовніше. Ми дуже хотіли, щоб було політичне рішення можливості Україні купити Гріпени і побудувати сучасний повітряний флот. І сьогодні ця можливість відкрита. Політично позитивне рішення. Дякуємо за це, Швеції, дякуємо, Ульфу, тобі і всій твоїй команді.
Jag måste säga 2 saker bara. För att det ena är för att inte vi lär oss mycket.
Дозвольте мені просто сказати, президенте Зеленський, ми багато вчимося. Президент Зеленський сказав про дрони, про цивільний захист. Ну, знаєте, готовність захищатися. Всі ці речі, це речі, яких ми вчимося.
Not underestimate this. And it's not a corporate secret, as it were, that, I mean, we are really trying to, cooperate on a broader front between the Swedish defense corporations and Ukraine. And this is also important to underline.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks again. It's a beauty.
It's great.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.